But there are also a lot of others who are caught in situations where there are special needs, adults with special needs,
Yes.
people with ailments, you know. Eva, you want to share your situation?
My husband has heart failure and he's been given a timeline, right? Medical cost has increased, and taking him to and fro to the hospital for his checkups has become very expensive. Going to seeing the doctor itself, visiting the doctor is not much of a problem because with chest and all that. However, medication prices have soared. He needs non-standard drugs, which do not fall under the subsidized category. Non-standard drugs can cost up to $7, $14 per tablet, and that's where most of the money goes. On top of that, his MediShield was revoked when he suffered a stroke a few years ago. So this was a cause for concern because MediShield is supposed to be
A shield.
an insurance, yes, yeah. So why was it revoked? Coming back to what the topic of CPF, in his case, why is it that his CPF cannot be withdrawn for his medical purposes at this point in time? He doesn't have very many years to look forward to, and now is when he needs the money. So why does he still have to wait? Okay. Why can't there be a special circumstance?
Okay, let's hold it there. Minister.
Well, firstly, Eva, and I completely understand how stressful it must be. When illness strikes, it's very difficult for the families, for the caregivers. So the right thing to do is to understand the individual circumstances. And Eva raised a couple of points. What I'd like to do is to follow up with you separately, because I think those questions that you asked are somewhat unusual. It's quite different from what we normally encounter. So the upshot of it is that, especially when it comes to healthcare issues, it's very often not sufficient to talk about it in general terms. Yes, we have MediShield. Yes, we have MediShield Life. Yes, we have help with big bills. Yes, we have help with outpatient and specialist subsidies. But individual circumstances are quite different. What I would say to Eva is this: what you are doing in terms of supporting him is very commendable. And if you have a set of conditions that don't fit the normal, the right thing to do is to take it up with the Ministry of Health. You can approach your MP to do that, but you don't have to wait for that. We can take it up separately.
But specifically, Minister, the question of CPF withdrawal, in this particular situation, shouldn't an exception be made to allow the individual to withdraw her CPF,
in fact, the
and
CPF,
not overburden the next of kin?
In fact, there is a rule in the CPF that under certain conditions, actually it can be withdrawn in full. So don't
in this
understand,
circumstance,
yes.
by right, it should qualify, right?
So I have to understand it a little bit more.
I understand. You can't commit without knowing the full facts. But I think it's important for us to understand, for us to be aware that in our midst, there are individuals who may be the patient or the next of kin who are suffering in the most fundamental way, which is not having peace of mind. Now, I know that that's not the purpose of the budget, but at some point, I guess that we are hoping that the budget will deal with exceptional circumstances as well. And these exceptional circumstances do add up over time, right? And I guess that the request here is that the government takes heed of this and perhaps makes mention of it in subsequent budget speeches.